Hi everyone, happy Monday. I'm so excited to be here with you guys today. I'm Bev McCullough of Flamingo Toes, and we are sewing through my Melody Lane quilt. It's going to be just a blast today. Last week was our kickoff where we just talked about what we need and got all ready, got our supplies, and this week we are diving into sewing. So we're starting with the Birdhouse block. We're taking each block in the quilt, and it's the quilt behind me here. We're taking each block in the quilt step by step, and I'm going to sew through them. You do have to get the pattern to join in, but it's just really fun. These are going to be such fun blocks because it's super crazy cold everywhere right now, including here. I looked just a little bit ago, it's 17, which is about 50 degrees too low. And so we're going to think of spring. We're going to make birdhouses and fussy cut birds and just have a generally good time. So I'm super excited that you guys are here today, and I hope that you are ready to start sewing. Let's see who's here. We had Teresa. She's here. She says the blocks are quick and adorable. Love that, Teresa. So fun. And Kimberly is here. She's staying inside where it's warm. Go, Kimberly. Jackie and Ruth are here. Marine, freezing, Ohio. Blech. That's not good. Adriana, Jeanette, she says it's snowy in West Virginia. We had snow a couple days ago, but it's just stupid cold now. So where's the fun in that? Wendy's here live. Yay! I'm so glad you're here, Wendy. And Nancy's here. I almost combined your last name, Nancy Matheson. And Marion's here from sunny Prescott Valley. Is it warm in sunny Prescott Valley, Marion? Because we might just all go sew at your house. I don't know. Sounds like a plan. Marie's here. Windy, dreary Florida. No, that doesn't sound so good either. Oh, I'm glad you guys are here. Oh, and Sue's here. Snowy in Pennsylvania, too. Oh, Val says it's nice in Tucson. And Marion says it's nice. Okay, it looks like we have to go to Arizona, everybody. I don't know if Val and Marion are willing to host us all, but we'll give it a try. Oh my goodness, Betsy is on the Vision of the Seas in Bahama. Betsy, my goodness. Maybe we should all go hang out with Betsy today on her cruise. That sounds lovely. Oh, goodness. Well, thanks for tuning in from the ocean, Betsy. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are here. Okay, so if you're new to my sew-alongs, here's how they work. When we're making a quilt, you have to go ahead and purchase the pattern. I've got links to the pattern in the video description, and I have links to shops carrying the fabric, and you can find Melody fabrics in stores now and the patterns. And if you can't find the pattern in your local store, you can buy it from me. I have that linked in the video, so you can check that out. So I'm going to sew through the block, but to get the measurements and all the details as far as like pressing instructions, and we're going to go over that stuff, but I promise you're going to need the pattern to make it. So I still have to purchase the pattern, but I'm going to make it as easy as possible with this fun sew through. And this is the block we're making today. Look how cute it is, you guys. It's a little birdhouse. I had a friend that thought that they looked like clocks, and I like that idea too, because if you really like cuckoo clocks with the little birds, couldn't you think of this as a cuckoo clock quilt too? I'm down for that, except it doesn't have like the little chains, but that's okay. You can just embroider those on. It's fine. So this is a fun quilt, and there's a lot of birds and florals and butterflies in my Melody collection, and so that was why I wanted to create this really fun birdhouse quilt. So this is the block we're going to make. You need 5 of these for the quilt, and you have a 10-inch stacker So the pattern instructions call for a 10-inch stacker, and if you bought the kit, you have a 10-inch stacker. If you bought from the kit from me, I included a little bit of extra bird fabric. If you bought the kit somewhere else, then you probably don't have that extra bird fabric, and there isn't enough in the 10-inch stacker to fussy cut a bird for every birdhouse out of the white bird fabric. I meant to, let me check and see if you can fussy cut it out of one of the other bird fabrics, and I'll leave a comment on that after the video and update my post to see if you can do that. You might need those for other blocks, but I'm not sure. But for the white bird fabric, which is what I show on the cover picture, you don't have enough to fussy cut 5. So there's some options. You can use a pretty floral as the center. You can just leave the center of the birdhouse blank and do like the white vine on vine print that's in the 10-inch stacker. Or you can embroider a cute little bird. And I'm going to switch over here. And so I have a free pattern for you on my website, and that's linked in today's video description as well, for a very cute little embroidered bird. So this little guy is based on one of the little birds in Melody, and it's so cute. And so it's a very fast little stitch because it's all back stitches, and I used 2 strands of floss. Again, all that information is in the post, but you're just going to pick your favorite bird colors. I used 4 different colors in case you really want to do this exactly the same. I used 3821 DMC for the yellow. I used 930 for the blue, the dark blue. For the light blue, I used 598. And for the green, I used 3347. So these are the colors, and I thought that they blended well with the Melody colors. But again, they're your birds, so make them whatever color you would like. So this little guy you can cut out and put in your block, like you'll cut this out and then it'll go in your little bird block, in your birdhouse block if you want, or you can just do whatever you like. If you have a different fabric that has birds on it, you can fussy cut those. I have lots and lots of options for you guys. If your heart is just in despair over the fact that you don't have enough birds to fussy cut for this, I want you to send me an email, bev@flamingotoes.com, and I will send you some bird fabric because I really don't want anyone in despair. So we've sent out some of that last week. If you missed that first kickoff video and you want this bird fabric to fussy cut, I'm going to make that happen for you. So send me an email and include your mailing address and all that kind of stuff, and we'll get your bird fabric out to you. So we don't want anyone in despair. Okay, so are you guys ready to start? Oh, how fun, a cuckoo clock. Nancy likes the idea. And Pamela's here. Hi, Pamela. Jeanette likes the embroidery. Marion, you're very sweet too. Hopefully that's not too loud. I have somebody working on our crawl space, and it's apparently a little scritchy right now. But I'm just going to keep talking, and we're going to pretend that noise isn't happening in the background. Oh, Jeanette, you're very kind. And Melissa said she made all 5 birds from her 1 layer cake square. You can fussy cut 4 squares, and then she pieced 2 scrap pieces for the 5th square, and it worked. The birds were in the center of the blocks. Look at Melissa go. Okay, Melissa, I think that probably does vary depending upon what print you have out of your 10-inch piece, because you would have to piece one regardless, because you can't get 5 3.5-inch pieces out of a 10-inch piece of fabric. So you're going to have to piece one, but that's great that you got at least 4. I'm super excited about that. So, yeah, you can definitely fussy cut them. Pamela says she got all her birdhouses all done and loved making them. It's a really fun block, right? Like once you sew up your little birdhouse, I think it makes you happier. This is this is my plan anyway. I think it makes you happier. So let's talk about fussy cutting. Are you guys ready to start sewing? I'm ready to start sewing. At the end of today's video, we're going to go over a couple things. So don't leave after the sewing. I have, of course, our weekly giveaway and the announcement of who won last week's giveaway, but I also have my RBD block challenge block from last week that I want to show you guys too. So fun stuff. So don't run away after. So here is a piece of that bird fabric, and we're going to fussy cut this. So the way to do that, and I like to do that to double check myself with a marking pen. So I'm going to cut out this cute little bird right here. And so I need a 3.5 by 3.5 inch piece of fabric and a square. That's what's going to go in the center there. And so I need to kind of figure out where my halfway point on 3.5 by 3.5 is. So I'm going to do a little of icky math, and it is 1 3/4. So 1 3/4 is half of 3.5, and it's a square. So you're going to look for the 1 3/4 by 1 3/4, and we're just going to do some checking here. So I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do this little guy. So this bird it needs to go in, no, I lied. We're going to do this guy because he's prettier. He's going to be a little bit of an angle. If it doesn't bother you to turn your fabric and have it be at an angle, you can also turn it and have your square be not exactly with the grain. That doesn't bother me, and it's such a small piece that if it doesn't bother you, I say go for it, because then you can get your birds a little bit more aligned the correct way, right? So we're just going to kind of go this way with this one. So we need 3.5 by 3.5. So I'm kind of looking at the 1 3/4 to see if that's about in the halfway portion of this section, like from the left and right. And then we're going to do that from the top and bottom as well. And so 1 3/4 is here. And so I'm kind of checking here. And so you also want to check the top and bottom. So I've got about 3/4 above the bird here. And if I look up from 3.5, I've got about 3/4 there. So I'm going to leave my top and bottom about right. I need to go over this way a little bit because I've got 3/8 here and about 3/8, no, a little bit there. So you're going to shift around, and then if you want to double check yourself, use a disappearing ink pen and draw out your lines. And the nice thing about that is it's just a double check method for you. So I drew out 2 sides, and now I'm drawing out the other 2. And so then I can look and see and be like, oh, okay, this bird looks really cute. Can you guys even see that square? There we go. This bird looks cute and centered in the square. And it's just like we've all made that mistake where we fussy cut something and you thought you were centered, and so then you cut it out and you made those first 2 cuts, and then you were like, well, now I'm starting over because it's not centered at all. And even worse than doing that with a piece of fabric is doing it with something you've embroidered. So if you have done something you've embroidered and then you accidentally cut it out not centered or at the wrong size, then your heart just breaks because you have to do the whole thing all over again. So now that I've got my square cut out where I want, I am cutting out my little center square of my bird. And again, that's the measurements for that are in your pattern. So you can just check and note, and I'm doing 2 cuts at once, but I'm keeping my fingers back. As you guys know, I freak out about that. So here's our cute little bird. I think she's really sweet. She looks like she's on a little branch and she's about to fly away. Let's see. Oh, Kim says Kim, we just started, so you're not late at all. I'm glad you like the embroidery, Sue. That's great. Tessa bought the fat quarter bundles, so it was on sale at Green Fairy Quilts. Okay, you guys, Tessa's got a big score for us, so if you guys want Melody on sale, you can go get it from Green Fairy Quilts. That's awesome. And Val says she's got the fat quarter bundle too, so now she has plenty for the birds. Yeah, if you bought the fat quarter bundle, not the kit, you're golden. You have plenty to fussy cut there. And Sally says she has a bird panel that she will use for the pattern. She might make the birdhouses and the chain blocks. So many possibilities. Yay! Okay, so what we need to do now is we need to put the corners on our cute little birdhouse to give it that rounded opening. So what you're going to do is on the wrong side of your bee pieces, you're going to draw a line. And so you're drawing a diagonal line from corner to corner, and we're just doing, this is the stitch and flip method, or some people call it snowballing. So it's the same thing that whatever you call it, but basically we're going to sew on these marked lines. We're going to trim 1/4 of an inch away and then press. And a lot of picture blocks use this method, so it gives you all kinds of fun shapes and gives you kind of that ability to have rounded corners and things like that. So at the sewing machine, we're going to sew one of these on each corner, and you're going to look at the pattern to see how to align those diagonal lines, but basically you're going to have them kind of all go opposite each other to give your centerpiece a rounded effect. And before I go to the sewing machine, I did want to tell you I did a little bit of figuring on the background fabric to help you not have to figure out how many strips you have to cut and then to cut out your pieces from it. So for the G pieces, you're going to cut 2 strips, 1.5 inch by the width of the fabric, and then subcut your pieces. For the I pieces, you're going to cut 1 strip, 2.5 by the width of fabric. For the I and J pieces, you'll cut 7 strips and then subcut those. So 7 strips, 2 inches by width of the fabric, and then cut those I and J pieces from those 7 strips. So I hope that helps not have to figure out like mathy stuff. So let's go to the sewing machine and sew these down. I'm going to do all 4 at once, and then we'll come back and trim, okay? Okay, so here we are at the machine, and hopefully you guys can see it's a little sunny out today, so I had to close all the curtains, but it's still very bright. So you can see where those lines are, and each line is kind of opposite. They kind of go away from the center. So I'm going to sew right on those marked lines, and then we will trim. So I like to sew just the tiniest hair outside that marked line, not like really just like a thread width, because it makes sure that once you press them open that they are still, you know, the block is the correct size. If you also want to make sure that your pieces are cut accurately when they're this small and that they are in place. So I'm taking a minute and making sure, like before I sew, that it's lined up with the corner, because if it's off, then your little corner piece is going to be off. And we don't want that. So I'm just taking a second to sew each of these little corners down. We have one more to do. Do you guys like doing stitch and flip blocks? Is that, does it make you crazy? What do you like to sew? I'm not a super big fan of blocks I have to trim, like half square triangles. So you can make awfully wonderful things with them. I don't mind stitch and flips because I love doing picture blocks, so I think it gives you a really fun effect. So, okay, so I've sewn all. So I am going to restart my iron because it cut off there. Okay, I just want to make sure I didn't lose you guys. Can you give me like a thumbs up if you are still here? One sec, I got a little notification that's worrying me. Okay. Okay, I think we're okay. We lost, we went down for just a minute, but I think we're okay. So if you can hear me, okay, give me a little, oh, I'm back. Okay, perfect. Thank you guys. Okay, so what we're doing now is we're going to trim these. You can trim 2 at once, and the way that you do that is take your little ruler and put this corner seam allowance on here and this corner seam allowance right here, and then trim off the corners. So we're just going to go right there like that. And again, you're keeping your fingers out of the way because we're good quilters and we do not want to cut our fingertips off. We're going to need them later. So we're just trimming those 2 at a time. Sorry about that, you guys. The beauty of lives is that you don't know when you're going to have some weird disconnect that happens that you have absolutely no control over. So your patience with that kind of thing is always great. I appreciate it so much. Yes, you didn't, it wasn't you, Teresa, it was all of us. We were all lost for a minute. Okay, so I've trimmed and now I'm going to press. And we're just going to press these corners back and we're going to have a really cute little square. This needs to come over here because we're pressing on a bump here. We don't like that. Plus you guys can't see. Okay, now let's try this again. So we're pressing. You can, I don't starch my fabrics ahead of time, especially on a 10-inch stacker project because they're generally not enough space to starch. But I do love this flatter. It's from, the company is Soak, and this is the Pineapple Grove. It's got this really ugly sticker on here. But this is what I use when I am pressing. So it's just a very light starch. It's not enough to, you know, make your fabrics feel stiff like a lot of other starches, but it does also give you some stability. So it's kind of like a baby starch. Okay, so we have our step 1 done, and now we're going to sew the C pieces to the top and bottom. We're going to be back and forth just a little bit with our different back and forth to the machine, but that's the beauty of sewing through a block. So now we're going to sew our C pieces to the top and bottom here. Okay, so Marion says she likes stitch and flip. Yay, Marion, we're in the same camp then. So I'm going to put these here. This butterfly print is non-directional, so you don't have to worry about which way it's going or anything like that. And so we're going to sew 1 to the top and bottom, and then we will be set with this. Brenda said the audio is skipping. Let me know if that is happening for anyone else. Okay, so Teresa, I sew at a full 1/4 inch. So now I've got the top and bottom sewn here, and we need to press before we sew the sides on. Okay, so now we're going to press this top and bottom sections here, just like this. And so we are pressing these down. These are the C pieces. So we've got these down, and now we'll just real quick run back to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew these D pieces on the sides, and that is what builds out the body of the birdhouse, which is awesome. So once we sew these on, we're going to sew the G pieces on, and we don't have to press between those, so I'm going to take them over to the machine and sew them at the same time. So we're just going to kind of make a little row here, and then we'll come back and press it all at once, okay? Okay, so I'm going to sew these in place first. So we're going to sew these two side pieces on, and then we'll repeat on the other side. Pamela asked what I do with all of the beautiful quilts I make. Do I store them or use them? Okay, so Pamela, I store most of them if they're what I consider a work quilt, which is kind of a funny phrase, but the quilts that I have designed that I sell patterns for are the quilts that people want to see when I go do trunk shows. So those are work quilts. So those all get stored. And then if I make a quilt, okay, sorry, real quick. We're sewing that D-print on, and then we're sewing the background piece on to the side of it. We're going to repeat. So if I make a quilt in another colorway, then I get to keep it. Or if I make a quilt using someone else's pattern, or sometimes I'll do a sew-along, you know, like I like to do some of the Lori Holt sew-alongs or different things like that. And those I get to keep because I'm not selling the patterns, of course. So that's one of the reasons I like to join in with other people's sew-alongs too, because I get to keep those. So that's a long-winded answer for you, Pamela. So this is the right side of the block. Now we're going to do the same thing. We're going to sew this piece right here, but I have to turn it upside down because of that seam allowance there. So we're sewing this piece on, and then we're sewing the other background piece on the other side. So sometimes it's, Jeanette asks if I make all of my quilts. Okay, well, Jeanette, that is a good question. So, and let me sew this down, and then I will answer you while we're pressing. Because that's a longer answer than this seam is anyway. Okay. So now we have our two side print pieces and our two side background pieces on here. And so now we're ready to fix the roof and the base of our cute little birdhouse. Doesn't she look so cute, her little birdie? And she's got a butterfly in the birdhouse with her. I love it. Okay, here's our cuteness, and we're going to press these seams away from the center. So I'm just going to flip this over and we'll press. I'd like to press on both the back side and the front side on a lot of my blocks, because I feel like it's kind of just a double check of, oh, did I get that to lay as flat as I possibly could? Sometimes if you just only press from one side or the other, then it's easy to get just kind of an extra little fold, or your seam isn't as open as it can be. So I don't love that. I want my block to be as flat as possible. So I just kind of go over it on the back side and the front side. So here's our cute little block. So now we're up to step 3. So easy peasy, right? Okay, so once we do that, now we need to do a stitch and flip with the roof of our birdhouse. So you're going to take your 2 H pieces And you're going to draw on the wrong side of those your diagonal line. And then you're going to put one on each corner of your birdhouse. And they'll be kind of aligned opposite each other. So that's going to give your roof that like angle roof line, right? So here we have our two lines opposite each other, and that way we're going to sew just like we did here for the inside of the birdhouse. We're going to sew on those marked lines, and then I'll come back and trim. So let's go do that. Then we can chat about sewing. Okay, so here's the scoop, Jeanette. So I do not sew all of my own quilts. I am, well, up until this year, I was just one person running the business and trying to do a lot of things all at once, and just not having enough time to do everything I was supposed to do. So one of the things that I can outsource is sewing. So I can't outsource design or anything like that, and we have to do all the shipping of our needle minders. We do a lot of the production, all the needle minders. We glue on all the magnets ourselves. We package them ourselves, all of that kind of stuff. We package all of our own patterns. So there's a lot of that kind of stuff that my daughter does now, but there's a lot of design that goes on, and a lot of like just keeping the shop running and keeping, this is a long story, keeping the shop running and all of that. So you can see I've sewn on these diagonal lines here. Let's switch cameras. I'll finish my story. And so basically all of that came down to having to decide some things that I could start hiring people for. So some of the things like some of the quilts that I use in photography, for things like that, I have hired people to sew for me. And same with my cross stitch patterns. I do have someone on staff. That sounds more important than it actually is, but I have someone that also stitches for me. So I design everything, but there aren't enough hours in the day for me to stitch and sew and manage the website and ship everything and all that kind of stuff. So the beauty of growing a business is that you have to let other people do things. So so I do all of my like little projects sewing, obviously all of this kind of sewing. I have a cute mini quilt that I'm going to share this week that's a fat quarter shop pattern. I've sewn all that stuff, like all the RBD block challenge. I do all of that, but some occasional quilts I hire out for sewing. So there's a long story there, Jeanette. You're like, why did I ask that? So we're going to put this diagonal line that's 1/4 of an inch away from the seam on the seam and trim, so we have that 1/4 inch seam allowance. And then I am going to trim on both sides. So there we go for that. And now we're going to press, and we're going to press those, and we have cute little roof line, you guys. I love it. Obviously I like this block. You don't have to sing to it if you don't want to. It's entirely optional. But if you would like to sing to your blocks, they're like plants. They like that. Okay. It's kind of a ridiculous sort of day around here. So you're going to sew your roof line to the top of your birdhouse, and you're going to sew the base of your birdhouse to the base of your birdhouse. Okay, so let's go to the machine and sew both of those in place. Let's see. Leslie says, I like it better close up. Hanging behind you made it appear it didn't show off your beautiful fabrics as well. It is hard to see the fabrics when you're looking at like a quilt on a wall or something like that, or even just in a photo. Nancy, the embroidery can absolutely be done after the block is made. Whatever you prefer, that's totally fine. Pamela says it's very easy. She really enjoyed this block. She thinks she make another whole quilt with just birdhouses
and alternating with a full piece block. Love that. Leslie says, don't be embarrassed for growing your business. Perfectly acceptable. Exactly, Leslie. Like, that's just how, you know, if you want to grow, you have to flex and learn and do different things. So thanks for being understanding about that. So this is the roof piece that I'm sewing on here. And then we'll flip that block around and sew on the base of the birdhouse. Now, I have cut mine so that they're the same print. So this print is the same as the base print, the roof print is the same. But, you know, if you are finding that you want to add some variety to your blocks, or if you're, you know, making the runner or whatever it is that you're doing, feel free to change that up. You don't have to have the same roof and the same base. It would give it a little bit more of a scrappy look to change that up, and I'm always down for scrappy looks. You guys know that. So I think that would be a really fun effect to have on there, to change that up if you would like to. But keep in mind, if you're going to change it, you might have to change something else later because of how the kit is designed. So here is our cute little block. It's got the base and the roof, and it looks just really fun. And now let's go press.
Okay, so we're going to press these, and we're pressing away from the center on the base, and then I thought it was better to press the seams open on the roof line just because of all the different places where it's multiple fabrics coming together. But if you really hate pressing seams open, then you just press to wherever your heart desires. And then again, we're just going to go over this again on the top. And now we've got our very cute little birdhouse. And all you have to do to finish out this block is sew the eye pieces on the left and right sides. And then, and it's hard to tell on my screen because of the background fabric there, but and then the J on the top and bottom. And that rounds out the birdhouse block. We're just going to put a little bit of sashing because we want these blocks to end up 12.5 by 12.5. So, and that's the same with the flower blocks that we're going to make and the Ohio Star block. We're going to add a little sashing to that Ohio Star. But this is the finished block with the gorgeous background fabric. And it's just so fun, you guys. So I hope that you love it, and I hope you have fun sewing them. Again, only 5 of these little guys, so it's really easy and fun to put together. And that's it. If you guys have questions about this block, please send me an email or leave them in the comments or whatever you'd like to do. But email or comments is probably the best way to get a hold of me. Otherwise, I don't always see random Facebook messages or things like that. Facebook isn't very good about sending those to us. So that's the birdhouse block. Yay! Yes, pressing open made it more flat. Yes, I agree with you on that, Pamela. Teresa says she wished she could delegate some of her sewing out because she buys fabric faster than she sews. I will say that I have had Becca cut out. My daughter Becca works for me, in case you weren't aware of that. I've had Becca cut out a few quilts for me, and I'm telling you, that is a delicious thing. Like, she's prepping all the RBD blocks for me this year, and by cutting them out, and then I'm sewing them, and I just can't even tell you how lovely that is, you guys. So speaking of RBD, last week was the RBD Block Challenge, which is a free sew-along from Riley Blake Designs. It just started last Monday. It's so much fun. It's my favorite sew-along other than the ones I do myself. It's so fun because each of the blocks is designed by a different Riley Blake Designs fabric designer. They're all free. They're all 10.5-inch squares, and all of the blocks from the last several years are that same size, so you can mix and match the blocks. This year they have released the final block, the final quilt layout. so you can see what that looks like. And so we're starting to sew up the blocks. Mondays was the first block. Here's my version of Lori Holt's Bloom and Grow block. So I'm sewing with Melody. It's going to be a lot of Melody this, but I'm so excited about it. So I did fussy cutting for the center because I thought we needed a birdie in there. Well, two little birdies, I guess. And then I chose some of the blues and greens. So again, you can find out all the information on my website. The links to the free patterns and all that stuff is there. I'm so I'm so glad you guys have fun with this. Let me know if you're sewing along and what you're sewing with. There's a really fun Facebook group too where you can see all the blocks that people are making. Everybody's sharing different blocks, and it's just, I love seeing them in different fabrics. So that's really fun. So if you haven't joined in with the RBD block challenge, we're only one block in. So, oh, and you can't tell. I don't know if you guys can tell. I'm using the white on white fabric. Yeah, you can see it as my background for this. So I think that's going to add some fun texture to the blocks as well. So I'm excited about that. So that's what's going on. Tomorrow is the next block, block 2, and it's my block. So I'm excited about that. I can't remember what they called it. Something, they named it. I designed the block and they named it, and it's something about a corner. But I would love for you to come visit my website tomorrow and see my version of my block. So that's really fun. She needs a Becca. Marion needs a Becca, and so does Pamela. I'm telling you, you guys, it's just about the best thing ever. Oh, and Wendy loves the navy and green together. Me too, Wendy. It's so fun. So that's all the sewing. So you guys ready for giveaway time? I'm ready. Okay, so last week we had a fun giveaway to start us off. I have to hide the name. I almost gave it away. So I have a 10-inch stacker of Melody for our winner from last week. Then I also have a Hearts and Kisses quilt pattern. This is my fun heart pattern that is perfect for this time of year, but any time of year because hearts always win, right? I love hearts. So this pattern is on sale for only $5 this month, which is a great deal, you guys. That's more than half off. And every month I do a different pattern on sale. So Hearts and Kisses is for January, and after the end of January, it won't be $5 anymore. So if you're not the winner today and you want the Hearts and Kisses pattern, I've linked it in today's video description, so you can go check that out. Plus, I have 2 needle minders for the winner that match our Melody collection. So we have the cute little birdhouse, and then we have the darling little bird. And these are so fun. And our giveaways are super easy to enter. All you have to do is leave your name, not leave your name, leave a comment on the video. Your name will be as part of the comment. And that's all you have to do. Easy peasy, right? And that's live or later in the week. It doesn't matter when. So our winner from last week is Pamela Winkle. Send me an email, Pamela, at bev@flamingotoes.com with your current mailing address, and I will get this out in the mail to you this week. Yay! So for this week, I was feeling 10-inch stackery again because really it's one of my, I love a fat quarter bundle, right? You can do everything with a fat quarter bundle, but I think my next favorite pre-cut is a 10-inch stacker because you get all the fabrics, you can make so much with them, and they're just delicious. I don't know. So I have a new 10-inch stacker for you guys. This is Blossom Lane from Catherine Linnaeus. This is like spring, right? Like how gorgeous are these big flowers? I love them. Love, love, love. So look at some of these prints. There's really pretty colors like blues, greens, peaches, tiny flowers. Then there's some little letters. There is some doors. Look at the little doors, you guys. And then some more tiny flowers, some dots. I like that. Check. This is so fun, you guys. Such a pretty collection. Wendy said she would pay extra for kits that all pieces are pre-cut. Wendy, I think you can do that from Stitch in Heaven. If you've never checked out their shop and they're in Texas, I mean, you don't have to go to Stitch in Heaven. They have a website. But I think most all of their kits are laser cut out, like they come pre-cut. I know they did that. They're the ones that did the cruise that Amanda and I taught on together, and everything came pre-cut, which was really great. So, this week's giveaway, back to that. Blossom Lane. I have, this is so fun, you guys. I love these. This is from Riley Blake. It's an acrylic churn dash binding holder. How cute is this? And I'm having to show it at this weird angle because my ceiling fan's on. And so I don't want to like cause you to have seizures by the flashing. So all you have to do is get your binding ready, and you slip it through this little notch here, and then wrap it around, and it keeps your binding super tidy and ready for you. And you can hang it on a pegboard even if you want to. So handy, you guys. Very flashy. Sorry. And then I love these. I bought a bunch of these for friends, and then I bought a couple for you guys too. This is Liberty. It's their Liberty print, and it's like a little sewing. It's not like, it is a little sewing kit, you guys. So you can put it in your bag, or if you're going to go on a trip. And my voice just got all weird, but I love this little sewing kit. It's so cute. So it has felt for your needles, and it has some little safety pins. Where'd that word go? Some very cute little scissors and a measuring tape. And then you have a zipper pocket where you can put threads or, you know, various other little notion-y things if you feel like you need maybe some extra buttons or things like that. So this is so cute, and it's in Liberty, which is just about the best ever, right? So I have this darling little sewing kit for you, and that is our giveaway for this week. So all of you guys that have commented, you're already entered, which is awesome. If you make more comments, then obviously that increases your chance of winning, because it's like I number them all, and then I have this random number generator. So anyway, that's our giveaway for this week. I hope you guys are staying warm. It's crazy cold everywhere. I'm ready for it to be March already. Can we just skip February? Like, make all the heart things and eat chocolate covered strawberries, but then suddenly it's March. Can we do that? Can we all agree? Oh, anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Sorry about our little glitch in the middle there. You just never know with lives. I really appreciate you taking time out of your Monday, on your holiday especially, and being here. And I just love hanging out with you guys on Mondays. It's so fun. So I hope that you guys have fun sewing up the birdhouses, and you're all ready and raring to go for the Ohio stars we're going to do next week. And I have ways to make them fun and easy and not stressful. So we're not going to stress about Ohio stars. I hope you guys have a fabulous week. I'll see you on my blog tomorrow for my RBD Block Challenge block. And then other than that, I'll see you on Monday. And I hope you guys have a fabulous week. Talk to y'all later. Bye.